I'm caps lock different. It's facts, not fiction. Said I black out for real, then the track gone missing. If it's cap, I'm dipping. We ain't talking about a move, then it's flatline finished. When I spaz, I'm grinning. Put a peel off in the Sadies and I pass by spinning. It's perks with this life, but I don't have my skinach. Took a quick trip and now I'm back home winning. And I see they eyes pop like I snack on spinach. Pull up to the spot, she tryna grab my digits. I'm already 8 shots, a Henny past my limit. Here you go. Hazards with a dash full of tickets. I'ma act like I don't see them. I got bad eye vision. Y'all can't pass my scrimmage. While y'all tripping, it's Aruba. I realized I had to go and flip.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 242 of Psychotic and Iconic. Pals and Theories are live tonight. We're going to cover the Saquon Barkley being on the cover of Madden, PFF top 32 running back list, Frank Ragnow retiring from the Lions, and Eagles getting rid of Bryce Huff to San Francisco. Thank God. All right, what do you think about Saquon being on the Madden cover?
Yeah, no, I love it. But first off, before we get to that, mic check, 1 2 1 2. Can everybody that's tuned in right now, can you guys hear us?
We got to stop having to do this.
Well, no, you have to check, man. What do you mean?
Yeah, we have to check with local ordinance.
Absolutely. Local ordinance. That really matters, bro.
That's the episode tonight.
Local ordinance?
Local ordinance.
All right. I like following the rules sometimes, bro.
We're surveys.
We're following the rules.
Know the rules.
Yeah, know the rules. Saquon, maybe. Hell yeah. Fucking right. It scares the balls off.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that.
I'm sorry to hear that.
That's a sick shirt. Where'd you get that from?
Liz got it. She gave it to me.
Damn, that's what's up. Look better on my floor.
I was actually at this game when he did that.
Were you really?
Jacksonville, yeah. Me, the Godfather, and Liz.
Man, my invite
sister.
must have got lost in the mail. That's crazy.
And my sister. It was fucking awesome, dude. Yeah, I'm so happy Saquon is on the cover. But as an Eagles fan, I'm a little worried just because of the Madden curse. I totally believe in the Madden curse. And yeah, I'm a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie. Absolutely. What, you're scoffing over there? You have to be nervous, bro.
Nah.
CMC was just on the cover.
I know.
He missed a whole season.
But he always gets hurt. I don't believe in Madden curses. I believe in God.
All right.
In my Saquon voice.
Faith over fear?
Yeah, faith
like that.
over fear.
All right, cool.
Yeah, now I'm a little nervous. It's just one of those weird things, man. Like it always happens.
Solid snake. Pause. Real shit, he says.
Yeah, I'm
nervous, man. Let's talk Knicks is crazy.
No, I'm cool on that.
Let's talk Knicks.
I mean, if you want to pod a little bit about the Knicks, I cannot believe they fired Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, me too. I don't understand that.
I don't get that. Bro.
I mean, he took them to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in forever, and then all of a sudden you just fire him. Like, bro, I just feel like that's so disrespectful.
The last coach to win a playoff series for the Knicks was Mike Woodson. Like the Knicks, man. Like you could laugh at the Sixers because we ain't been there, but they finally got some stability, and they just and they went and did Knick shit again.
One thing I will say though, they got standards though. They got standards though. Yo, he didn't meet the standard. He didn't meet the bar. At the bar, he didn't meet it.
I mean,
look, I think it's crazy.
I would argue he exceeded.
Look,
that.
I think it's crazy that he got fired, but also if you look at it from afar, man, like the Knicks have high standards for their squad, bro. Like if you got fired in the Eastern Conference Finals and that team hasn't made it in so long, to me, it's like, I don't know, man. He underperformed.
I'm cooked.
They thought he underperformed.
Yeah, Solid Snake just said this too. There was rumors. I was just reading it before I got here. They were saying that Rick Brunson is a little bit of a problem. Jalen's dad, just about him being too involved. They don't know the depths of it, but apparently a few players didn't like how much he was involved. I gotta be honest, man. I think I would, in that scenario, I think I would feel a little uneasy too. Like somebody's like a grown ass man's dad's there having input. Like, I don't know how I would feel about that. Like, I definitely do see where, I agree. Like, I see where it could ruffle feathers.
You can't think that way though, because you're a Shador guy and Dion is all over his career at the moment.
No, because
absolutely, bro.
Dion's not coaching the Browns.
He's not coaching the Browns, but he's playing Twitter dad. Like,
so what?
I know, but that causes clicks and controversy, and
that's different than being on the bench making decisions actually about the team. Dion's son dropped the 5th.
I'm with you, but at the same time, like the dad is still involved. It doesn't matter. He's still involved in the situation, no matter how even if he's not the coach.
Yeah, but it's more impactful. It's more meaningful. Like on Twitter, you can ignore. You can't ignore when the dude's on the bench behind you trying to give input.
Well, what about Halliburton's dad? You don't think he was a problem?
He was absolutely a problem. That's why he got suspended. Which also was mad corny. You walk on the court and stare down Giannis. Like, what is that? If that was my dad, man, I would have slapped the shit out of him.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you feel like more dads are becoming more involved in their children's career these days? I mean, there's a lot. I feel like there's been a lot more examples over the years.
Yes. The reason for that is, I think you're on the right track, right train on this one. I think the reason for that is because the superstars are younger. Like Jaden Daniels' mom. Jaden Daniels is 23 years old. Bro, you're legitimately a kid with millions and millions of dollars. Tyrese Halliburton is what, 23 years old, 24 years old. I don't even know. But they're kids, dude. They're young. So they just need to get guided. And I, honest to God, like some of it is like a prideful dad.
Okay.
But again, it's just overboard sometimes. It's just overboard. Like Tyrese Halliburton's dad, the Pacers won that series, and the entire conversation wasn't about the birth of Tyrese Halliburton. It was about his dad acting like a fucking buffoon, staring down Giannis in the middle of the court. Like, who does that?
Yeah, but like, where do you think this all stemmed from? Because this is becoming a lot more frequent than I think than ever before.
Because society changed.
Like even like 20 years from now, like 20 years ago, we have never. I feel like these stories were few far in between, if they were ever surfaced.
You know why?
Well, who started this? Because I kind of feel like it's kind of genius, but at the same time. But I feel like LeVar Ball was the kind of guy that started this whole thing. In my opinion, like, but I will say that it kind of did start with 2004 trade with Eli Manning going to forcing his way
I think Elway
from
did that too,
the Chargers to New York.
I think Elway did it too.
Yeah, but like Eli Manning was a big name. Like these were primetime names. So you know what I mean? Coming out of
honestly, I blame Democrats.
Ole Miss and everything. But like I feel like that was kind of like the model, I guess, for getting what you want as a player. Because when you had that skill set and you had that cachet, like these players now, like they have all these deals, NIL deals and shit. Well, they have a lot of cachet to their name. So they feel like they have power to do these kind of moves. So I feel like you see that more and more these days because it worked. It worked, bro. Like everything worked. So LeVar Ball like talked his way for Lonzo. It worked, dude. It just worked. Everything worked. And the only thing that didn't work so far was probably Deion Sanders. Ironically enough, that is the only situation that hasn't really benefited.
Yet. It will, though.
It could be.
I'm with you.
And that could be a better story than all of them.
Yeah, it will be because of because of what happened.
True.
I agree. Yeah. If Shador does pan out, it'll be the biggest story in history. One of the biggest stories because of how the slide happened, everything that happened on draft night. We're building the fucking studio and all that. But I think a lot of things is society and culture. Bro, in my opinion, and I don't want to sound like the old head, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like to me, when we were 23 years old, 24, it was different, dude. We were like young men. Like, I don't look at, like, outside of like athletes, but I don't look at kids now that are 20, 21, 22. I don't look at them as young men. They don't come off like that, bro. Like, I just feel like the maturity, the growth of the person is it's a lot slower of a process, but it's because we don't demand. The children of today are not demanded the way that we were demanded. We were scared of our parents, dude. That doesn't happen anymore. And it's funny because I raise my kids the way I feel like I was raised. Like, when you do something stupid, you're going to get a smack on the ass. Mm-hmm. You need to know about that. And my parenting style for the new age comes off tough and rough. But again, it's what I believe in. I turned out to be a normal human for all of my flaws. I'm a normal, hardworking, middle-class human.
It's somewhat normal.
So yeah, somewhat normal. But like, I wake up every day, I go to my job. I don't wake up and call out and say that I'm tired.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I cry about it on the way to work and say I'm tired, but I go to work. So I just think that it's society, dude. I think it's a societal issue with today's kids, that today's kids mature and grow up at a much slower pace. And they're more attached to their parents, dude. Like, I mean, our kids, our age group, the early 90s kids, we were buying houses 23, 24, 25, getting married 26, 27. Like, I can't even imagine some of the kids I see today around that age.
See, I see this situation so differently, and I see your side, but I see it so differently. Like I see these dads that are involved in their kids' lives, like in terms of athletes, they're so because they're living through them, and they didn't get this attention when they were children.
Yep.
So now that they have now that their kid is in the spotlight, they feel like this is their opportunity to kind of live that moment where, like, you know what I mean? Like they finally got to be in the light, and they were never in the light, but now they're able to get in the light because their children was able to afford them to be in that light.
Yeah.
So now they're taking advantage of it. So they're trying to be in the news, the media, just to try to, get the attention. But I think that's actually like.
Here's the other part though. I don't fault those parents. Like I don't fault LeVar or Dion. It's you could call it a delusional belief, but high beliefs and high expectations of yourself and crazy goals that you reach for often need delusional fucking confidence. And my thing is what's wrong with being a proud dad, a proud mom? Like, why can't you hype your kids up like that? Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, if Gianni or Christian or whomever, like my sons, I'm going to be involved with Christian, but I'm saying like involved with Gianni sports. Like, I take pride in that. I love that. I'm living through him because I'm experiencing it from a different lens now. So like, I get it. I don't fault that. I'm just saying when it gets to be too much, you can go online and say whatever you want.
Because dad's opinions are biased and coach's opinions are not. That's the difference.
Depends.
I don't think
coaches can be biased.
Absolutely, they can be biased. But I'm just saying, like in the professional world, in the NFL, dads are biased. The dads in the stands are biased towards their children.
Oh, in the stands.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
The coaches aren't biased. The coaches are evaluating the player on a talent basis and a play-by-play basis and game-by-game basis.
Go look at the NBA. Was Bronny an NBA ready player? No, he got no burn this year. Why? Because he wasn't an NBA ready player.
Well, why did he get drafted?
Because he was draftable.
He was draftable, but why did he get drafted? But he should have went probably later.
I disagree.
Maybe.
The reason I disagree with that is because prior to Bronny's heart attack, he was widely recruited as a potential top 10, top 15 pick. So Bronny was good. He had a heart attack.
Fair, but you can't say that being LeBron's son, it didn't help his draft stock at all. Like,
no, I don't
100%.
And the other reason I don't blame LeBron for that is because nepotism exists in
100%
corporations. Like,
I don't disagree.
How do you get into a union in Philly? You know somebody,
sure,
and they get you right in, and you go from being a bum to making, and you could be a stagehand and make $50 an hour to start.
Not for nothing, dude. If I was the GM, I'm taking a chance on LeBron's son too.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like, why wouldn't I?
You don't think Jack Brady's going to get drafted if he wants to pursue football?
I'm just saying, why wouldn't I? If I see that he has talent, he has the genetics, and he has coaching, and he's going to have that for his whole career because his dad he was maybe the best ever, and he has him at his disposal to help him learn and grow as a basketball player and as a man off the court. I'm taking that all day. So, like, to me, it's a no-brainer. I'm taking the chance, but I feel like, to me, I don't know. I feel like it's too involved though, man. Like, I feel like dads should let the kids be men. If you're making millions of dollars, you got to be a grown man, bro. Like, you got to be a grown man to handle millions of dollars. Like, you just do. You got to be smart business wise. You got to be smart off the court or off the field. You got to be smart who you hang out with. Everything you do in your life has to be smart. Every move you make is got to be either business or you got to keep yourself safe, bro. Every move you make is business.
Yeah.
Every move.
But I just like,
and it's hard to do that at 17, 18 years old, bro. Like, you know how hard it is to do that?
Well, it's going to be even worse now because college athletes, Cooper Flagg made $28 million last year. You don't even need grit anymore to get to the NBA because now if you're just a star in college, you're getting paid.
If Cooper Flagg retired right now, he could do whatever. He could literally go on an island for the rest of his life and live there and peacefully.
Hopefully not Epstein Island.
I'm just saying though. Yeah. but you get the point.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But like, I think that dads are more involved because their kids are more exposed.
Well, they are with social media.
They're more exposed.
It's nuts. It's nuts. Yes, I see it.
Me too. I see it too. But like, I feel like, for me, like, I don't know, man. I feel like you have to let the kid
Yeah, independence.
If the kid's going to be making millions of dollars, he's going to have to be independent. But I'm going to be there to guide him for on and off the field, like just to be there for like as a mentor, because that's my son. I'm going to be there no matter what. But the problem is, though, as a dad, you also kind of have to have a self-awareness thing, though, too. Like the media is going to talk. Do I want the media to talk about my kid in a negative way at any way they can? Like, even if I tweet at something, they're going to fucking nitpick the tweet and make it negative. But you have to have the self-awareness around and realize that's going to happen. So for me to be involved nationally, I would think twice.
There's no escaping it, though.
There is no escaping.
There's no. So, like, even look at T. Morant. The problem is, though, is that people now, you get raised as your kid's friend and not as his dad. Like, you have to be dad first. You could be friends with your kids, but you got to be dad first. You have to know just the line, and you have to teach independence. It's an era of helicopter parents. Sometimes you have to be. I have to be at times too, but that's like knowing your kid. You got to know when to be on them a little bit, but. You look at things like that, man, and like I said, I just feel like kids are maturing at a much slower rate than when we were kids. Like, I feel like when we were in high school, we were like, I don't know, like I just felt like we were more mature, dude. Like sometimes I see these kids and I'm just laughing. They have no responsibility. They don't know which end is up. Like that, it's our education system too. Our education system's a joke. It's a joke, dude.
Bro, the athletes don't even go to school for education.
But bro, I'm just saying, you go and listen to an athlete talk, bro. They're using double negatives. I'm just saying we all do it, but it's like they can't even complete a sentence.
Oh, I know. I know. Trust me, they can't complete a sentence, but yet they're more wealthy than anybody in the world.
Because it has nothing to do with education anymore. And that's why you're seeing a drop in colleges and all that. It's not about that anymore.
Eventually, it's going to catch up, though, because I do feel like you're going to need those skills in order to win at some point.
Maybe, but my thing is at this point, it's not colleges too. It's not worth it. Like it's only going to get worse. Like they're not randomly going to, like somebody going to Harvard that is going in $500,000 worth of debt, so a professor can make $300,000 to teach twice a week. That's only going to increase. Like Harvard's not going to drop their tuition. Tuition's only going to get worse, and the tuition's going up, but the income is staying there. So as that grows, that gap it's not attainable. Like to go get a business degree right now is one of the stupidest things in the world.
See, like you're thinking it logically, but that's not actually how it does go.
No, that's not how it works.
This is what the universities do. And if you really want the honest opinion, what they do is they overcharge for the tuition. They take your money, and what they do is they pour it into the campuses. And what they do is they do new construction. So when they have new buildings and shit like that, new facilities, that attracts new people to come to their college, and that requires a higher rate, because now you're able to bump up the price because you had brand new facilities.
Yep.
You're more attractive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your college is up and coming. So that's what they do. Like it's a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
What they do is they upcharge you, they take the money, and then they're going to upcharge the future students because they got new facilities based off the previous students.
People are aware.
Thank you.
Though. People are aware though.
Thank you.
It just doesn't pay to do it right now.
No,
it doesn't pay to do it because it's the juice isn't worth the squeeze on it at this juncture.
I don't disagree.
So you know that. All right, back to let's talk football.
Yeah, let's talk some football.
Fuck that stuff. We were talking about Saquon Barkley, nervous for the Madden cover. So yeah, I'm a little bit nervous just because that freaky shit, that weird shit happens, man. I don't want it to happen though, because we run it back. We're running it back either way with one. But I'm just saying, like, I want to watch Saquon. Who was your favorite Madden cover?
I like the Ray Lewis one. I feel like Ray Lewis
06, 07?
I think that was
05.
05?
Or no, McNabb was 06.
05.
05, yeah.
I feel like 05, that was the year of the hit stick. I feel like that was the year I had the most fun with my friends playing Madden. I don't know. I felt like that was the introduction of the hit stick, and that changed the game for a lot of people.
I love that. I didn't even think of that. I think 06 was when Madden started to become ass. And the reason I say that is because that's when they added the vision.
Yeah.
I can't hotspot or something.
McNabb was on the cover.
McNabb was on the cover, and they added division. You would play with like McNabb, and it would be this big, but you would play with Brady, and Brady could see the whole field.
Mm-hmm.
And you used to have to analog it over to throw it to an accurate pass.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that. I would probably say 04. 04 with Michael Vick. Or maybe 02 with Culpepper. Somewhere around there. I didn't like 2001, but I felt like 2002 to 2005, which was, I want to say Culpepper, Falk, Vick, and Ray Lewis were the covers. But like there was nothing like waiting at GameStop at midnight to get that.
Yeah, McNabb.
You remember that?
Yeah, there was nothing like it.
McNabb was 06.
McNabb was 06. It was Alexander in 07.
Yes.
2000 was Vince Young.
Yeah, 2009 was Larry Fitz.
09 was Brett Favre.
Go.
2010 was the first year they did the doubles, and that was Palomalu and Fitzgerald.
Yep.
Then 11 was Drew Brees.
Mid.
Oh no, top 5.
You're not door.
And 2012.
Top 5.
Top 5, yeah. 2012, right? 2012. This is where they fucked it up. And I fuck with this guy because I think he's a hero because of his recent actions. But Peyton Hillis was 2012.
I forgot about Peyton Hillis.
Yeah.
Yo, that's crazy.
Peyton Hillis was 2012 on the Madden cover, but then they got it right. They bounced back with 2013 with Calvin Johnson. They got it right. Then they had another lion after that was Barry Sanders. That was their 25 edition. 25. And then it was Sherman in 15. Odell was 16 because the catch.
Regular.
Gronk was 17. Brady was 18. Antonio Brown was 2019. Mahomes was 2020. Lamar was 2021. That was the MVP edition.
Regular.
And then the MVP edition again was Brady and Mahomes. And then this past year was John Madden in 23.
Nice. I can't wait till that movie comes out.
I gotta say, dude, like looking at these cover arts, I think the worst one probably
was Peyton Hillis.
I don't know, man.
I can see him with the orange helmet.
I think the Barry Sanders one was kind of mid. Like, I just feel like there's more to his story than just him just running with the football. Like, I feel like he was known for his moves, and I feel like they could have put a more dope picture behind that. So I feel like the one in 2014 was a miss, totally a miss. But 2011 with Drew Brees was fire, bro.
Yeah,
top
that is
5,
a fire
man.
one.
He's
not top 5, but that's
awesome,
a fire
man.
one. He's not top 5. But,
Wow, man, he's a legend, dude.
Yeah, he's not top 5, but
such a legend.
He's a legend. He's just not top 5.
Such a legend.
Not top 5 though. All right, let's talk about the PFF top 32 running back list. I'll read off the first 10. Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, Bucky Irving, CMC, James Conner, Devon Achane, and Kyron Williams rounds us off at 10. What do you think about this? I didn't make a list.
I didn't either, but
right.
I'm just gonna be honest and real, and like I don't want to be bitter on here because like this is not how I view this player. Let's be real though, Derrick Henry. I love Derrick Henry more than anybody on this podcast ever.
I fuck with Derrick.
I know, but I'm talking about for the future, bro. Like
yeah.
I love Derrick Henry. You know how I feel about Derrick Henry, especially coming January and February. That's a fucking different dude. But he ain't the best running back on the planet. Number 1 running back to me is Saquon Barkley. And any other list that doesn't have Saquon Barkley as number 1 is a complete, it's a joke. Okay. Like that list should never be taken serious. And PFF, the fact that we're even breaking this down right now is kind of making me feel like we're wasting our time because this is crazy.
The disrespect started at number 1.
Saquon not at number 1 is insane. Okay. Like he quite literally is, I absolutely argue he was the MVP of the league. Right.
I think you can make a very valid argument.
He's on the Madden cover, for Christ's sakes. And he had a way better year than Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry had a great year.
Yeah. It just wasn't Saquon's.
It just wasn't Saquon's.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think Derrick Henry is a better runner between the tackles. I do.
Ooh,
I do. I think Derrick Henry's a better runner between the tackles. I think Saquon just does more. I think he's a more versatile back. And there's nothing wrong with that. So but to me, I value the versatility. So I have Saquon number 1. There's no way that Saquon is not the best running back in football. Absolutely, there's no way.
And there's no way that Bucky Irving is the 6th best running back in football.
But so where do you have Derrick Henry then?
I would probably go Saquon Barkley. Man, I don't know. After Saquon, bro, there's a part of me that wants to put Jahmyr Gibbs.
I had Jahmyr Gibbs.
I love Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, I think he's number 2.
So I think Jahmyr Gibbs. I would probably put Derrick Henry 3rd. Mm-hmm. Then I would go Bijan. No,
I like Josh Jacobs.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't do
I think
that.
Josh Jacobs, to me, you want a pure running back, a guy that's going to, like, between the tackles is going to get you 8 yards of pop. Josh Jacobs is your guy. I think Josh Jacobs at top 5 is 100% accurate.
I'm looking here too. How is Jonathan Taylor at 14th, bro? There aren't 13 running backs in the NFL better than Jonathan Taylor. Like in no way, no how. In my Rob Parker voice, no way. You're not going to sit here and tell me that Bucky Irving is better than Jonathan Taylor. Kenneth Walker is not better than Jonathan Taylor.
Bucky Irving's damn good though, man. He had a historic.
He did, but he's not JT. James Cook is not better than JT. Kenneth Walker is not better than JT.
Yeah, but I think JT is on the way down too, though. I think he peaked.
Peak in my interest.
And he got paid. He peaked, and that's what happens. But
what do you want?
At 14, I think that's a little.
He had
little
300
low.
touches, 1,400 yards, 4.7 a carry, 11 tutties, and 18 receptions.
Yeah, I think 14 is too low for Jonathan Taylor. I think he definitely is a top 10 back. Like, I think Kyron Williams at 10 is a joke.
You can make Jonathan Taylor, like, not for nothing, but I would probably put Jonathan Taylor in my 5.
They have Ashton Ginty over Jonathan Taylor.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. And then you got Joe Mixon at 17. I don't think Joe Mixon's washed. David Montgomery at 20, sandwiched with Tyler Algier is crazy.
I mean, me personally, I think Tony Pollard over Aaron Jones is crazy.
I didn't even see that. Alvin Kamara.
James Conner at 8 is interesting because
that's high for me. That's too much.
It is high, but bro, he is consistent.
No, I know that.
And he is a goddamn bull.
I don't think he's the 8th best running back. Wait a minute. How is CMC 7th? And I don't want to hear he got hurt, bro. So did Devon A-Chain.
Where do you have him?
He's top 5.
CMC?
Yeah. He's probably 4th. And
right
then
now.
I would round him out, and then I would round out my 5 with JT. JT, maybe I don't know. I'm a Kyron fan.
JT?
Yeah, I like JT. I think JT's the good. He just ran for 1,400 yards and handled 300 carries on an offense that had no quarterback.
I'm with you, but I don't think he's top 5.
Jonathan
Taylor. He wasn't even top 5 in rushing yards last year.
He's around there. I said he would be around 5. But CMC, you're not going to sit here and say is the 7th best running back in football. If you want to count injuries into it, okay, I understand what you're saying. But CMC, if this list is everybody at max health, CMC is no lower than 4th. No way.
CMC is no low. I like talking about right now.
Yes, right now.
I don't know, man. I don't think he's 4th.
CMC.
I don't think he's 4th.
Who is Josh Jacobs better than CMC?
I would take Saquon.
Okay.
Derrick Henry.
Yep.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
I'm with you.
Bijan Robinson.
No.
I'm probably taking Bijan there because I think Bijan could do it all.
No, so can CMC and better.
Yeah, but I have to worry about injury though.
I'm saying but I'm assuming this is off of health.
We're talking about right now.
Yeah, right now.
We're going into 2025 evaluating
I'm taking Bijan. That's different. I'm taking Bijan.
We're taking the play.
CMC. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying at full strength. If I could guarantee,
you're not going to get full strength though. That's the point. That's why he's at 7. That makes sense because.
So right now, if we're doing a fantasy draft,
his ceiling is 1. His lowest is probably 20 something because of his health. That is.
Right now, we're in a fantasy draft.
Yeah.
You have 1.01. You taking Bucky Irving or CMC?
1.01, the first overall pick.
First overall pick.
I'm taking Saquon Barkley.
No, but you can only choose between Bucky Irving and CMC.
I had the 7th pick then.
Yeah.
And there's
Bucky Irving and CMC.
Irving, CMC. Well, you have to give me more options. Who else is out there?
Bucky Irving, CMC, Josh Jacobs, James Conner, and Devon A-Chain.
Well, we're talking about.
I'm giving you 6 through 10 or 6 through 9. Excuse me.
The safe pick is CMC in terms of his ceiling is number 1.
Ceiling, yes. That's what I'm saying, though.
But he's the scariest pick in terms of health.
Yes, agreed.
So to me, like I think Bucky Irving makes sense at that pick, and Josh Jacobs makes sense at that pick. If you wanted to take the safe route, it depends on how you're drafting. Bro.
Are you a safe boy
in fantasy? In Mark's league, I will be.
Well,
in that case,
that's because Mark's league is competitive.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, unless you're playing a Caesar.
Well, right. But like in that case, I'm probably taking the safe bet, bro. I want my player to
Or
be
some
healthy.
Derek.
I want my player to be healthy. I think it's 7 is so fair because of the question marks.
Bro, there's no way you will ever convince me that if you have the 7th pick, you're taking Bucky Irving before CMC. There's no way. I don't care what you say. There's no way. Nobody is, because at that point, getting him at that value is worth the risk. You have to do it. It's one of those players you just have to draft, because if he's healthy, it's a wrap.
I mean, Bucky Irving was literally number 6 overall in yards per carry.
Yes.
5.4 yards per carry.
Yes. I'm not saying that Bucky Irving isn't good. It's not.
He was literally number 4 overall in running backs.
So are you taking Bucky Irving or CMC?
I just kind of gave you my scenario, dude.
You're taking CMC, bro.
I don't think you go wrong, though.
I do.
I don't. I think Bucky Irving is that good to where, like, I don't think that's a misfire. I don't. And if you wanted to take Josh Jacobs, go ahead. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with Josh Jacobs? Josh Jacobs was fucking awesome last year. Like, Josh Jacobs was great.
I know that.
He had 1,300 yards. He had 15 touchdowns.
Yes.
342 through the air. Like, he was damn good, dude. He was a top 6 running back last year. At that pick, I got to take the safe route, bro. I have to.
You're taking Bucky.
I'm taking Bucky, bro. I think I'm taking Bucky over CMC. And it might be crazy.
Oh, it's more than crazy.
It might be crazy.
It's more than crazy.
But if Bucky Irving has he hasn't been injured. Well, maybe he did, I think, early in his career, right?
I don't know, because he didn't start right away last year.
He might have missed a couple games, but
in the beginning, he just didn't start.
But last year, it looked like he played 17 games, 1,100 yards, 207 carries, 5.4 yards per carry, 392 yards through the air.
He
had 8 touchdowns. This guy was a fucking rookie.
Because of the Bake Show.
This guy, if Ashton Genty has a year like Bucky Irving, that would be more glorified than Bucky Irving's year.
Absolutely.
Which is crazy. Why?
Hype.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, I'm with you. It's the name.
Think about that.
It's the name. Yes.
Like,
you're 100% right. You are dead right.
So that's why I'm saying, though, you're looking at me like, oh, you would take Bucky Irving? Because I think you're going by the name. Christian McCaffrey, Bucky Irving. Okay, Christian McCaffrey has some cachet, bro. He was a number 1 overall pick for years and years and years in a row. And Bucky Irving just came on the scene.
Exactly.
So I understand why you feel that way. But if I'm evaluating it, like, based on injury performance last year and the overall going into this season, I think Bucky Irving is the pick.
I think you could say that, and it's logical. It makes sense, but I don't think anybody can pass up CMC.
I don't disagree.
At number 7.
I don't disagree.
And it's one of those things you draft them and you just say, I had no choice, and it is what it is.
I know. And you know what?
It's hard.
And guess what? On draft night, I might say, fuck it, give me CMC. But right now, I would take Bucky.
Yeah.
But right now,
because right now there's no pressure.
There's no pressure.
And you can think about it.
On draft night, if I see CMC at the 7th overall pick, I don't know. I definitely feel like there is a high chance I would change my pick. That's what I'll say.
Where else you at on here? I mean, Ashton Genty's never played it down in football.
I think it's crazy.
Him as a top 15 back. I don't get this, bro.
I think Kyron Williams is way too low at 10, dude. Kyron Williams had an awesome year.
I know.
I mean, look, he started off hot. I thought he tailed off, but he had 1,300 yards, 14 touchdowns. The only problem with him, I don't think he's involved too much in the passing game.
Nope.
So I think that kind of hurts
his
overall value.
But
in terms of running back, I mean, it's hard. You'd be hard pressed to find 9 other running backs that run the ball better than Kyron Williams.
The other part of Kyron Williams is the reason that the catches, it would have made his ceiling a lot better. But with Kyron, he was a touchdown a game guaranteed.
Well, he had 14, so almost a touchdown a game.
Yep. Every week, dude. I knew I was getting a tutty. That's how I felt every week I started him. He was one of my favorite picks ever in fantasy, bro.
Yeah.
Loved him because I knew what I was getting every week. Every week I knew what I was getting.
I'm not going to lie, let's go back to that conversation with Saquon and Derrick Henry. Saquon had the craziest year that I've seen in a long time for a running back.
Adrian Peterson.
But let's not gloss over Derrick Henry here.
Derrick Henry had an insane year.
Let's backtrack. Let me backtrack on this shit, bro. Because Derrick Henry had fucked around and had 1,900 rushing yards after everybody was concerned of drafting him in fantasy because they thought he was washed because that was the reason why Tennessee got rid of him. So there was a lot of question marks around Derrick Henry coming into the season last year. Although it did look obvious that Derrick Henry was going to pop. Although I did say that Derrick Henry on the Ravens was going to be bananas. I was damn right. But there was a lot of conversation too and worries that Derrick Henry was also washed. That is to put to bed, man. If it wasn't for Saquon last year, you could absolutely argue Derrick Henry could be the best player in the world, bro. Bro, 1,900 rushing yards, 16 touchdowns.
Yeah, he was like that.
Saquon had 100 yards more, but Saquon did play one less game. But Saquon only had 100 yards more. And
he ran for 1,900?
1,921 yards and
I actually didn't even know
16
that.
touchdowns.
Yeah, he was diffy.
He was fucking different.
He was still in his prime.
He's fucking different.
He's going to have another great year.
So let's go back. If you had Derrick Henry at 1, I don't know if I can argue with that.
I can.
I don't know.
Saquon, bro.
I know, but Derrick Henry's been consistent
Derrick
for
Henry's
a
been that
long,
dude.
long time.
And he's had one injury.
Right.
The weirdest thing about Derrick Henry is the first 2 years of his career were dog shit.
So I don't know.
All right, fuck what I'm saying.
Well, I
The
didn't.
first 2 years of his career.
Yeah, but that I'm not gonna hold it against him.
No, I'm saying I wasn't holding it against. I'm saying it's just like it's wild how long it took him to adjust at his size.
Yeah. Which is crazy, dude. Like, yo, this guy's a monster. I don't think we've ever seen anything like Derrick Henry, like run the rock like that.
Nah,
I mean, this guy's like a lineman just running down. And
he reminds me of Sean in high school.
And for the
That's
record,
serious, bro.
For the record, he didn't lose an ounce of speed, in my opinion.
Oh no,
I mean, maybe a lick,
he moves.
a
It wasn't
lick.
noticeable.
but he's breaking off 80-yard runs,
His burst was still
burning
there,
safeties.
except when Cooper DeJean put him on his back.
Yeah, but
That was tough.
that was tough. And they're actually, there's a Cooper DeJean rookie card out there that exists of him doing that tackle.
The
of
T-Lane
Derrick Henry.
tackle.
It was fucking sick.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
the Benjamin Lowe tackle.
yeah, it's dope. I gotta add that to my collection. That's for sure.
You'll get there.
Yeah.
What else looks weird on here?
I
I think
think
Chase Brown is low.
I think James Conner's too high. I think Devon A-Chain at 9. I think to me is a little high. And I think because to me it's just injury concerns. I think he has crazy burst. I think his ceiling is insane.
Oh yeah, he's running back 1 overall if he ever plays a 17-game season.
Because of the usage, maybe.
Yeah, his usage. And
I think he's top 5. He'll definitely he would be top 5 if he was
I'm
healthy.
saying in fantasy.
For sure.
I'm saying RB1
Yeah.
in fantasy if he's healthy for 17
maybe.
games.
Maybe based on the usage, but they also have Tyreek Hill and Waddle there, so that might damper his numbers a little bit. But overall, I think it would be close. Who else? Kenneth Walker at 11. Do you have a problem with that?
Not really. He just is another one that he's in and out.
So you taking James Cook or Kenneth Walker?
Probably James Cook. I don't know, man. I like Kenneth Walker. The reason that it's hard to evaluate James Cook is I know he had a good year, but I feel like James Cook's year was so great because he had 18 touchdowns.
So is Kenneth Walker worth $15 million a year?
No.
So what makes James Cook worth it?
James Cook carried more of the load, and James Cook was healthier.
Yeah, but if you have Kenneth Walker and him on the same platform, then I don't think.
But the problem is that Kenneth Walker might not even be the best running back on his team.
I don't know about that. He's definitely the best running back.
Sharps can play.
He's good.
Sharps can play.
He could definitely play, but he's not better than Kenneth Walker.
But it goes back to what you're saying about health. Kenneth Walker is in and out. He's another one. He's a headache.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't draft him.
Yeah.
I love Kenneth Walker. He's a headache. I don't know what it is with Seattle running backs, but he is like Chris Carson Jr. They're just not. They get dumb ass little nick injuries that get you that keep you in and out of games.
Crazy, man. Breece Hall at 15, man. The fall of Breece. Like, for real, though.
He fell harder than Zeke
Breece
Elliott.
fall. That's what I call him.
Yeah.
Breece fall. That's exactly what happened to him. He fell. He was the number 1 last year, consensus.
I know.
And he went back to middle of the pack, 15. He's hovering around Chuba Hubbard. And I think Chuba Hubbard is great. He's a good running back. Oh, he's great, man. He's a good player, dude.
Yeah, he'll be with me.
He's underrated.
He'll be, what is it? Hands up? Wait, now, what were you saying earlier?
Oh, hands off, the retrospect.
Yeah.
That's my name. Hands off the retrospect. That's fucking insane.
Yeah, can we make that 242?
It can be, yeah.
Hands off the retrospect.
The retrospect.
The retrospect.
Yeah. Joe Mixon at 17. I kind of feel like that is robbery. I just want to
balled last year.
I just want to say, like, Tony Pollard ahead of David Montgomery is crazy.
Yeah.
I think Tony Pollard ahead of Alvin Kamara is crazy.
Aaron Jones.
I think Tony Pollard ahead of Aaron Jones is crazy. I'm a big fan of Tyler Algier, but 22 is a little high for him.
Pacheco, I think Pacheco's better than Tony Pollard.
I don't think so. Pacheco didn't do shit when he came back. He was pretty mid.
Broke his leg.
I know.
What did Tony Pollard do last year? Rico Dowdle was outperforming him.
Yeah, 2-yard Tony. I never forget
2-yard Tony. Yeah, you should know that, bro.
He was a nightmare.
Yeah, give me the fucking little cartoon character. I kind of want a chicken cheese steak.
I think with some bullshit about this list too, and I think is so disrespectful, is that Travis Etienne at 32 was wild.
Bro, he fell off crazy.
Nah, but he is not the bro. There is not 31 other running backs better than Travis Etienne.
Look, I like Travis Etienne, but the problem that Travis Etienne has is last year, bro, like,
I'm taking Travis Etienne over Ramondre Stevenson. I'm taking him over Najee Harris. I think Najee Harris had a good year, but I think Travis Etienne's ceiling is high.
It is, but last year he got outplayed by what's his face. I can't think of that dude. Who's the backup on there? What's his name, bro?
Oh, he fucking killed me in fantasy too.
Yeah, with a Caesar.
He fucked me too, because Tom had him.
Oh, Tank Bigsby.
Tank Bigsby, man.
Tank Bigsby was better than Trav.
He bent me over in Aruba Pauls.
Yeah.
Like straight up. When I was in Aruba, bro, he was
No, that was me.
No, I played Tank Bigsby and fucking when I was in Aruba, I was playing Tom.
And then you played me the next week.
I played you the first week, and then I played Tom after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
I got tanked. For real.
Yeah. Tank for tank.
So that sucked. But yeah, Tank Bigsby, but he's also a good player too. And then also another player on this list that killed me was Tyrone Tracy at number 30. I think Tyrone Tracy.
Oh, he's a good running back.
Yeah.
Speaking of running backs, did you see Scatabo? That thing I retweeted?
Yeah, he didn't know who the players were.
Bro, he didn't know who Brett Favre was.
That's crazy. I caught him.
He's stupid.
Yeah.
You don't know who Brett Favre is? He didn't know Cam Chancellor?
You think that's cap though?
Nah, bro, he was dead serious confused.
Like he really didn't know them?
He didn't know them, bro. He didn't know Darren Sproles. He didn't know Brett Favre.
Do you think that's a problem?
I mean, I do.
Why?
Bro, how are you a professional football player and you don't know legends of the game?
No, I mean, but does that like matter though in the grand scheme? Like, do you think that
do you want my honest answer?
Yeah.
I would be worried about his attention span, his sponge-like qualities. Can you retain information?
Why? That has nothing to do with it.
Bro, how do you not know anything about the game? So you mean to tell me he doesn't know who Brett Favre is? Brett Favre. So Cam Scatterbo was playing football in high school and college and didn't know the Legion of Boom and Cam Chancellor, the best defense of the 2000s, or top one of them. I would worry about that, bro. I would worry about his ability to retain information, retain and process.
Well, when did he start playing ball? I don't know anything about him really like that.
He could also be 16.
You know what I mean? Like he's 23 years old, bro.
Yeah. So, but 10 years ago, you're 13, bro. I know players from 13. I know Baldo. Brett Favre retired
2010.
Yeah, when we graduated high school.
That was 15 years ago. This kid was 8.
When I was 8, I'd like John Elway.
Yeah, but how do you know he was watching football at 8?
I guess you're right on that. I don't know, bro. You didn't pay attention to anything to football?
See, I think that we have reached a point where kids are not recognizing legends because they weren't around.
Like we don't recognize Terry. Well, we know Terry Bradshaw. We know Dan Marino. Like I think it's wild, bro, that you're 23 years old. You don't know who Brett Favre is.
Bro, this kid, Cam Scatterbo, was born in 2002. He wasn't around for 9/11.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's that young. So like, yeah, like I kind of give him. Damn, I don't really want to give him a pass because it is fucking stupid And I'm so with
He
you.
looks just like Nicky Torres.
But I'm trying to give him a little bit of grace because I'm looking at his age and I'm like, I can see it. But at the same time, if you love the game of football, I feel like you study the game enough to where you know who the legends are. By face,
that's what I'm saying,
by
fam.
Jersey, by number.
Bro, I can know NFL legends by their baby pictures.
By game. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I agree with you. But I feel like we are reaching the point now in our life, in our generation, where the kids that are growing up in the early 2000s have no idea who the fuck Steve Young is. They have no idea.
I feel sorry for them.
They have no idea who these players are, who Ray Lewis was, who fucking Javon Curse was. They have no idea who these players are.
Or Connor Barwin.
So, you know what I mean? So, like, I feel like we're reaching that point where, like, it's crazy, man. So, I don't know.
I'm looking at why ain't J.K. Dobbins on this list?
Why is he?
I think he's snubbed.
I don't believe that.
J.K. Dobbins is better. J.K. Dobbins is a ball player.
He's not better than any of these players on this list.
J.K. Dobbins might be better than Ramondre.
I think Ramondre Stevenson is probably the one that
you could lift.
Yeah.
And there's too many rookies.
Well, if you had a rook, so let's go through the rookies. I think the highest rookie right now is at 24 with Amarian Hampton.
No, the highest rookie is
I'm sorry.
13.
Yeah, it's with Ginty. Outside of Ginty, the second one is Amarian Hampton at 24. 27 is Quinshawn Judkins. 28 is Travion Henderson. And that's it. So out of those four running backs, the rookie running backs, which one has the chance to finish higher than their original ranking? The best chance?
Probably Amarian Hampton because he's going to get opportunity.
Okay.
His head coach runs the fucking football. So that's where I'm at on that. I think he has the best shot. I think he has a shot to. He's gonna be one of the better backs in the league this year, bro. The only thing that he might struggle on is goal line carries for Najee.
Let me ask you a question. Is Nick Chubb a top 32 running back right now? Because he's not on his list. Nick Chubb is not on this list. Is he a top 32 running back right now?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'd probably say no.
Crazy.
I'd probably say no. Bro, the dude broke his knee and I mean, he broke things in his knee that I never even heard.
You think that's it for him?
Yeah, he's a spot back.
Do you think he could help a team?
Yes. In a limited role.
Is there a running back that's not on the list right now that will crack this list next year?
DeAndre Swift.
Ooh, I like that. I like that one. I'll give you one. Jaylen Warren.
Oh, yeah.
Jaylen Warren not being on this list is crazy because he's going to be the guy in Pittsburgh, and I think he's going to shine. I think Tyler Algier, after look at this list, is really high, man. 22. I think Pacheco at 23 is pretty high. I think Chase Brown has a chance to really do damage.
Who?
Chase Brown.
Chase Brown, yes. Love Chase Brown. Yeah. Just like, what about Ronnie Rivers? Or Raheem Blackshear?
It's crazy because
Tiffany Latshaw.
Yeah, do you think there's a lot more good, like a lot of bet? Do you think there's a lot better running backs these days than we've seen? Like, I feel like when I'm looking at these lists, I'm like, bro, like, holy shit, there's a plethora of running backs.
Yeah, there is. The problem is that people the problem is it's committees.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's the problem.
It's committees.
I agree. That's the problem with fantasy.
Correct.
Sure. But I'm talking about in terms of like evaluation of the top 32. Like, I'm looking at these other running backs. Like, there's a lot left off the list.
Yeah. Like DeAndre Swift is one of the best 32 running backs in the league. FR. But I mean, come on, bro. DeAndre Swift's a good running back.
I think Rico Dowdle has a chance.
Yeah.
But he's also in a spot in Carolina where he's not going to be used. He's not going to be used because they're going to have Hubbard.
And Hubbard just got paid, so Hubbard's going to be running the rock.
So then there's committee right there. But
Correct.
Swift has great potential. I really like that answer, man. That was a good one. I didn't even think about him. I actually forgot about him.
I can help you.
But I forgot about him. That's the craziest part because like I'm like there's so many running backs.
I know it's weird to say that.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I feel like
very weird
back
to say
then,
that.
like even a couple of years ago, like I feel like the running backs were few far between, even in fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or do you still feel like it's still that way because of the committees?
What?
Do you still feel like the running backs are like few far between just because of the committee of the committees?
Like in regular football?
Yeah, like do you think it changed that much from 3 years ago in terms of running backs? Like in terms of the
Yeah,
the
I think they're
talent
coming
pool,
back.
the talent pool.
Yes, because they were devalued and they were made out to be like players that can only last for 3 or 4 years. You run them into the ground and then get rid of them. Ezekiel Elliott actually is like now I know Zeke was 2016.
Yeah,
but like that's the number one example. He got ran into the ground and then wanted his money and was already washed, bro. But when you get 400, 450 touches for 4 and 5 straight years, dude, and you're getting tackled by 400-pound men, you're going to wear down, dude. I mean, was there a faster drop-off outside of Breece Fall?
Breece Fall.
That was clever.
Yeah, but Breece Fall was only a 1-year guy, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Didn't
But
really
he went
pop
from
like
1
that.
year to already down
Like
to 15.
Zeke was Zeke.
He was that guy.
He was that guy for 3 years, solid 3 years.
Best running back one of the best running backs in football.
Top 5 in football.
Yeah.
And 4-year span, 100%.
100%.
He was great.
So that's where I'm at with that. It's crazy. Like he's not even on here. I mean,
well, yeah.
I'm saying I don't think he should be on here.
No,
I'm just saying like the drop off is nuts.
Oh, I know, because if you're looking at Zeke, I'm looking at Derrick Henry, and I'm looking at how great of a career he is. Because
what happened to you?
Yeah, like Derrick Henry to me is an anomaly because of his style, the way he plays, and the length of his career, the success he's had, the way he's carried his teams, right? Like he carried the Titans.
Paul Perkins was the third running back taken that year. Then Jonathan Williams, Kenneth Dixon.
What year is this?
Devontae Booker, 2016 draft. Zeke's draft. Devontae Booker. Alex Collins. Alex Collins for the Ravens.
Yeah.
He was like
all
that.
right. Spot start.
Yeah. CJ Procise or Precise. I don't even know how to say it.
Procise, yep. Seattle.
Kelvin Taylor, Seattle. Daniel Lasco. JH24.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan Howard.
For the value, give me JH24. Absolutely.
Tyler Irvin. I remember him. DeAndre Washington. Not bad. Kenyon Drake. He was an interesting guy, bro, because he hung around for a while, but he gave you flashes of like he could ball. But when you had to watch him ball, it was like, this dude can't ball.
Yeah, that was Chedda's guy.
Yeah, bro. Cheddar just got horny hearing me say his name, bro. that was the James White for Shamey.
Yeah. Or Frank Gore.
Frank Gore, that's who it was too.
James White's good too. That's Shame's guy.
Yeah. Keith Marshall, Wendell Smallwood, Devon Johnson, Trey Carson, Josh Ferguson, Peyton Barber. He had a little bit of a, this is cool. Brandon Wilds, Aaron Green, Trey Madden, Presley.
So this is in 2016. So basically the running backs don't survive.
There was like 4 running backs that even amounted to anything. So it's hard. It's hard. Lions starting center Frank Ragnow retires at age 29 out of nowhere. Lions are in deep shit.
Yeah, that's a big hole, man.
You lost both coordinators. You lost your center. Good luck, JG.
That's a big hole because the Lions are predicated on running the football. You know what I mean? And when you lose the anchor of your offensive line and the captain, that's going to be a big, big hole for them. And they got big shoes to fill. They really do.
I would argue that losing that center is more impactful than losing your 2 coordinators.
I don't know.
Because if your coordinator, they have good enough players that I feel like the scheme matters and all, putting him in position and stuff, but losing your starting center, that's hard, man. That's actually, I might retract that statement, bro, because the Eagles lost Kelsey and replaced him and they were fine. Let me take that back because
And that's what I was thinking of too.
let me take that back because also the Lions were trash before Ben Johnson got there. So I retract that. That was a I caught myself there. I was slipping.
So I definitely feel like it's going to be a hole. I think it's definitely a big blow to their team, especially leadership, experience, and just he's a great player. And when you take away one of the pieces that help you be successful at doing what you do, running the football, controlling smash mouth football, it's a big hole. But I do feel like the Lions they're still talented enough where they can maneuver out of it. So I'm not going to count them out yet, but I do feel like that's a hole that they're not going to be able to replace this season unless they do it via trade, via free agency, because some players do get cut throughout training camp. Veterans, veteran linemen, because they want to go younger. The team wants to go younger, and there might be an opportunity for them to go get a veteran center to help them out.
Bro, by the time he learns the offense, the blocking,
but I don't think it's much for a center. I don't think the adjustment is that much for a center.
You don't think so?
Well, no, I don't think so because they're just snapping the ball and they have one gap, the A gap.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they definitely control the line of scrimmage and the call outs, but the quarterback's going to call them out.
Yeah.
And I feel like, if the Lions have a good enough leadership, in the building, I feel like they'll absolutely get that player up to speed.
I feel like the Lions, man, they're in for it's going to be a tough year for them, bro. I feel like if they win 10, that will be good.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Do you have them winning 10 games?
I got to look at their schedule real fast.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's do it right quick.
We got the time.
All right. So they open up against the Packers. I'm going to say L. Then they play the Bears. That's a W. Then they play the Ravens. That's an L at the Ravens. Then they host the Browns. If Shador's playing, that's an L. No, I'm just playing. That's a W. Then they play the Bengals. That's a loss. So that's 1 and
2 and 3.
2 and 3.
I'm following.
All right. Lions versus Chiefs. That's an L. Buccaneers at Lions. That's an L. Vikings at Lions. That's an L. I think the Vikings defense can overwhelm them. And I feel like the Vikings are better coached, and I think they have enough around them.
Okay.
Then they play the Commanders. I got that as a W, as a revenge game, because they got embarrassed. Then they play the Eagles. That's an L. Then they play the Giants. That's a W. Then they play the Packers again. I'll say it's a win, split. Then they play the Cowboys. I'll say the Cowboys bust them up. Yeah, then they play the Rams. That's a loss.
Cowboys going to bust them up in Detroit?
I'm thinking about it because I'm trying to think. Can that defensive line get to it?
I got them at 5-7 right now with like based on your record.
Yeah, 5.
I got them at 5-7 at the Green Bay game.
Yep.
Where are they at in Dallas? Their home wish was Dallas. I think this is their season.
I think Dallas gets them.
Wow.
No, damn. I keep forgetting about Schottenheimer, bro.
This is their season right here, bro.
Give me the Lions. You talked me into it. It wasn't that hard. Give me the Lions because Dan Campbell will be able to outcoach.
So 6 and 7. Okay.
6 and 7. Then they play the Rams. I got an L. Then they play the Steelers. That's a W. Then they play the Vikings. That's a W. They split. And then they play the Bears again. They sweep them.
9-8.
9-8. And I feel like I was scratching and clawing for 9 wins.
I'm not going to lie to you, though, bro. I don't see the Lions going 2-6. I think they're way too talented to finish that off at 2-6.
So they beat the Packers. They beat the Bears. They're 2-0.
Because my thing is like you're looking at every good team on the schedule and automatically giving them a loss.
No. I think the Packers are just as good. If not, I would say the Packers are better. I'm
talking about the first half of their season.
Okay, but look at it. Hear me. The Packers are better than the Lions.
Okay.
That's an L.
Maybe.
And it's at Lambeau.
Maybe.
Then they play. All right, so just say it's a W. They're 1-0. The Bears is 2-0. The Ravens, they're 2-1. The Browns, they're 3-1. The Bengals, they're 3-2. The Chiefs, they're 3-3. The Buccaneers, they're 3-4. The Vikings, 3-5.
Who's to say they can't beat Cincinnati, though? Why can't they beat Cincinnati?
They can't beat Cincinnati. They're not beating them in Cincinnati. The Bengals are coming this year. The Bengals are better. They're just better.
They have no defense.
It'll be all right. They got 9.
Okay.
I don't think the Lions' offense is going to be as explosive.
Why?
I've seen that because I saw the offense without Ben Johnson.
They still got good players.
You got a piece of gum?
They still got players on their team.
I know that. I just don't think their offense is going to be as great. That's the best gum in the world.
They're fucking loaded.
I'm not. Did I say they weren't loaded, B?
Yeah, but how do you say they're not going to be shit on offense?
I didn't say they weren't going to be
Because
shit. I don't think they're going to be
Johnson?
that shit. I don't
because
think
of Ben Johnson. He ain't playing the fucking game. He's calling the plays.
Scheme matters.
Yeah, but when you got good players, I feel like when you have any scheme, they'll be successful.
Did you see the Eagles 2 years ago with that fucking dummy?
Not any scheme, but when you have Amon-Ra, guys like that, I feel like you're like it's gonna be difficult for them to struggle.
But we had AJ Brown, and we were struggling, and Smitty and Goddard because our offensive play calls were doo-doo. That shit matters.
I don't know, man. I don't see them dropping off like where they're going to score 9 points a game. Like I don't think that they're going to be.
You're taking it to the extreme.
Well, how do you? Yeah, because every game that you have them playing against good teams, you have them as a loss. As soon as you saw the Ravens, lost. As soon as you saw the Chiefs, lost.
Do you think the Lions are anywhere in the same realm?
As soon as you saw Tampa, lost. As soon as you saw Minnesota, lost. Like I just don't understand that.
These teams are better. Maybe not the Buccaneers.
What makes the Vikings better? They have a rookie quarterback. I'm taking Jared Goff over J.J. McCarthy any day of the fucking week.
Bro, their defense is better. Their offense is better.
Okay, I have a quarterback that's better.
It doesn't matter.
But he's the nucleus of the entire team. Quarterbacks run the market, bro.
I disagree.
How do you disagree?
I think the Vikings are better than the Lions.
Bro, you literally pick the Bengals to go far without a defense because of number 9. The quarterback 100% matters. That's my point. Like you're picking the Bengals to go far solely on the quarterback. And I'm saying that, the Lions are better than the Vikings because when I look at their teams, the Vikings have better weapons. In my opinion, overall, I do think they had better. Yeah. I think the Vikings have one of the best weapons in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
But in terms of quarterback, I would take Jared Goff to win a game over J.J. McCarthy any day of the fucking week.
But I'm not disputing that. But I think that I saw what Kevin O'Connell did with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was never shit. I'd like to think that he could get some of that. If he gets half of that out of J.J. McCarthy, the Vikings are a better team than the Lions.
I don't know about that.
You're crazy.
I don't know about that, bro.
Bro, I don't know. They were better than them last year.
The Lions were the number 1 seed last year, Mike.
Bro, but they fell off at the end.
Because they were the number 1 seed.
They were injured, bro. And it came down to the last game where they could have been the 5th seed.
Right. But they
were that you know what I'm saying? Or maybe you don't, obviously.
That actually kind of tells me they're mentally tough. That's a playoff game in itself.
Okay.
Right? Look, I think the Vikings are good, but we don't know shit about their quarterback.
The Lions will be the biggest regressing team this year.
And I don't disagree with that. I'm on board with that. I'm on board with that.
You're going to find out a lot about
things. But to say that their offense is going to be like, and
I didn't.
No, I think my biggest problem is when we were going through the list is every good team that you were going through is that you were considering them a loss. And I'm looking at them and I'm looking at the Lions. I was like, yo, they're a good team too, bro.
Who's better, the Packers or the Lions?
Well, situations matter here. On the road in the first game, I would take Green Bay.
Who's the better team?
Right now?
Yes, who is the better team? It is the Packers.
Maybe.
Okay. Who's the better team, Lions or Ravens?
The Ravens.
Who's the better team, the Lions or the Bengals?
I don't know.
Okay. Who's a better team, the Lions or the Chiefs?
I'll take the Chiefs.
Who's a better team?
I don't think it's wildly crazy.
But they are better. Who's the better team, the Buccaneers or the Lions?
I don't know.
Okay. Who's the better team, the Lions or the Commanders?
I don't know.
Who's better, the Lions or the Eagles?
The Eagles are better.
Who's better, the Lions or the Rams?
That's hard.
Okay, but I had the Lions splitting games in their divisions with the exception of the Packers.
Right, but my thing is that I'm saying I don't know to every single team that is on the same platform as the Lions. And what I'm saying is you were giving them an L every time they came across a good team, a la the Rams, a la the Chiefs. Didn't matter what conference they were in, you were giving them L's. And I'm saying is that means that you think Detroit is going to be really, really ass this year.
I think they're going to struggle this year, and I think they are a major regression.
Okay.
I think that Dan Campbell is a good coach, but he is a culture changer. He changes the culture, yes.
Right.
But I also think a lot of Dan Campbell is aura.
Okay.
A lot of is his behavior and how he's tough and the shit he says. I think Dan Campbell was very reliant on Aaron Glenn, who was an awesome defensive coordinator, and Ben Johnson, who was an awesome offensive coordinator. When you lose both coordinators, it can lead to sputtering. It did it with the Eagles. That's why the Eagles got Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio, because our offensive and defensive coordinator were literally retarded. You have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and what were we screaming? You're running fucking wide receiver screens every 30 seconds and no slants. Like Ben Johnson was very creative. Dan Campbell and Jared Goff in their first year together were 3-13. And I forget I think it was Norv Turner was the offensive coordinator. Year 2, they got Ben Johnson. Through the first 8 games, I think they were 2-6, and Dan Campbell was about to get fired. Okay. And he admitted that in the press conference. And then they started to take off, and Ben Johnson and Jared Goff clicked. Jameer Gibbs and I'm sorry, I forget who Swift. They clicked. They get Amon-Ra. They took off. So the last 2 years were great. Dan Campbell was on the verge of being fired after 1.5 years because his team was trash. Everybody thought Jared Goff went there to die. So I have evidence behind what I'm saying. The last time I saw Dan Campbell without Ben Johnson, he was 3-13 and on the verge of getting fired before Ben Johnson's offense clicked. So I think what I'm saying is very valid in my concern of, I think that they are going to be struggling in terms of they're not blowing people out anymore and putting up 40 and 50 a week. That is not happening. It's just not. Ben Johnson was one of the most sought out offensive coordinators for a fucking reason. Because Ben Johnson is an excellent play caller. How will he be as a head coach? I don't know if it's a Josh McDaniels situation. But to just act like all of that is simply Dan Campbell, it's naive.
Yeah, but it's also naive to say that like they're going to drop off just because of a coordinator too, though. But so you're saying that if Ben Johnson was there, that you're looking at these teams. If Ben Johnson was there, do they beat half of these teams?
What?
If Ben Johnson was there, do they beat half of these teams?
They have a better chance. Yes, I wouldn't look at them and just say automatic L.
Because of Ben Johnson?
I don't think – I'm telling you. Dude, Jared Goff is not a great quarterback. Jared Goff is a good average quarterback who benefits from strong offensive coordinator play. There was a reason that Sean McVay dumped him and went and got Matt Stafford, and that very year won the Super Bowl. And then he went to Detroit, was horrible his first year, and the second year, before they knew it, get – some kind of very creative genius of an offensive coordinator, and his career blossoms. That is very, very Jared Goff's story. And I'm not hating. Those are facts.
I just disagree. I think Jared Goff is the most insanely slept on quarterback
But I'm not saying that. But I don't think Jared Goff isn't you drop him somewhere and he completely changes your team. Otherwise, he would have did it with Jeff Fisher.
What do you mean? In what year?
When Jared Goff's rookie year was atrocious.
A rookie season. Okay, he was a rookie.
I understand that, but I'm saying he was horrible.
Right.
And hear me out. Jared Goff with a horrible head coach. Okay. Horrible. He goes to Sean McVay, one of the most brilliant head coaches in football of our lifetime. Trajectory, crazy. Didn't win the big game, but got there. He goes to Dan Campbell, first year, that offensive coordinator, who's calling the plays because Dan Campbell doesn't call offensive plays. Great. I mean, that coordinator was bad. Jared Goff was bad.
Yep.
Year 2 starts out bad. Offense clicks halfway through. What happens? He blossoms the next 2 years. He's awesome. But it's very clear that Jared Goff needs one of those coordinators. I'm not saying anything out of the realm here. I'm not disrespecting him.
Yeah, I bet like you are, though, because at the same time, it's like you're not giving the guy credit because he had good coordinators. Well, what if he made the coordinators that good? Because Jared Goff since 2020 has had the fourth highest passing yards in the NFL. Jared Goff has been fucking awesome.
I don't look at quarterbacks being good by passing yards. So that's where we're disagreeing.
He has stats and he's been successful.
Passing yards can be misleading because if you throw a 4-yard hit, Nick, you're acting like I didn't say Jared Goff was a top 10 quarterback.
I know, but you're acting like he's just like a regular guy and he's he's only Jared Goff because of Ben Johnson and Sean McVay. Like, yeah, like that could exist. Yeah, sure. But Jared Goff is a damn good player where Jared Goff could have helped them look good too.
I don't think so.
How?
Because Sean McVay got rid of Jared Goff and his offense got better.
He got Matthew Stafford, Mike.
Okay, but Matthew Stafford wasn't anything in Detroit either.
Matthew Stafford was considered one of the best quarterbacks in our generation. Before he became
Matthew Stafford was nothing in Detroit. He was just a guy that threw for shit.
He threw yards. Yes, he had this. He had the stats and he had the talent. But McVay made him win.
Yeah,
right.
That's
so what?
So McVay made Goff better.
He made him better.
He made Stafford better.
He made Goff better, but McVay didn't make him better in Detroit.
He wasn't coaching him in Detroit.
Exactly.
Wait, who are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. So how come every time that Jared Goff has success, it's because of somebody else? How come Jared Goff just can't be good?
Because he hasn't been good without two brilliant minds calling the play calls.
Bro, we're talking about his rookie season. Ever since that Jared Goff, name me one bad season Jared Goff has had.
He hasn't.
Exactly.
Besides rookie year.
Bro, we're talking about 2016. That was like 10 years ago.
But I'm just saying you don't find it. But
I think Jared Goff is. You don't think Jared Goff's a top 10 quarterback?
This is crazy. You need to watch this episode over tomorrow of all these accusations. This is fucking insane. I just said 30 seconds ago he's a top 10 quarterback.
Oh, my bad. I didn't hear that.
I just said that.
But I think you're talking to him like he's like
no.
He's predicated on
okay.
Ben Johnson was there, and that's why he had success. And Sean McVay was there, and that's why he had success. That's what I heard.
No, exactly. So, because I think you're listening to respond instead of listening to understand. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Hold on, hear me out.
Yeah, I am.
All I'm saying is that with Jared Goff's numbers are beautiful. Yes.
They're awesome.
It's the thing with Goff is just, I don't believe that Jared Goff is a franchise carrier. I believe that Jared Goff needs good play calling. Every quarterback does, but I don't think Jared Goff I think he needs a brilliant offensive coordinator.
Why?
That's all I'm going to say. Because I don't think Jared Goff is that guy.
Why? We don't have any proof. Because they
were the 1 seed last year. What'd they do?
Bro, their defense gave up 45 points.
How many did you score?
31. Bro, 31 points in a playoff game. 9 times out of 10, you should win that game. 100%. You know that, and I know that.
Fair.
They gave up 45 points. You want him to
but he was ass in that game.
Sure. I mean, yeah, but his team put him in positions where he had to do uncharacteristic shit. Like that happens, bro.
But it's not. I think Jared Goff is a top 10 quarterback.
Oh my God.
I think Jared Goff
slam dunk.
I think Jared Goff is a good quarterback. But to sit here and act like coordinators don't matter is really, really, really stupid.
I don't say coordinators don't matter. I do think coordinators matter. I do. I obviously Josh McDaniels, but he mattered. Man, he took Mac Jones to the playoffs,
but
guys. Mac Jones is barely in the league.
My thing is
100%
2 years ago, did Jalen Hurts have a good year? What was every single Eagles fan screaming about?
Define good year.
What was every single Eagles fan yelling about 2 years ago with the offense? The play call.
The play call, right. Okay.
You went out and got Kellen Moore and you put somebody in there that made that called better games. And the offense won the Super Bowl.
Right.
Yes, players do matter. I'm just saying, like, to me, the team that falls off this year is the Lions. I had them at 9-8. They're over and under. Their over and under on wins is 10.5. So obviously, again, I know ball a little bit.
Yeah.
What I said, they were coming out to a rough start. I think losing your starting center and your offensive genius coordinator is a bad recipe. I know you got Amon-Ra. I know you got Jahmyr Gibbs. But it is going to be an adjustment. It's going to be an adjustment. I did not have them losing to the Bears, the Browns. I didn't say anything disrespectful. I had them beating all the bad teams, and I had them around splitting. Like, you're not going to tell me that they're a better team right now than the Packers, the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Bucks, the Commanders, the Vikings. I just don't see it. I don't see it. And
I know. I just think it's crazy because it's like, we're looking at Jared Goff as opposed to a guy like Joe Burrow. Like, you think that Joe Burrow is light years ahead of Jared Goff. And maybe he might be. I don't know. I think Jared Goff is fucking awesome. I've seen Jared Goff go toe-to-toe with Mahomes throwing up 50, 51 points. And that was the greatest game I've ever seen.
But if Jalen Hurts would have did that, they would have said it was his defense.
Well,
that's my problem. And you know that's true.
Fair, but
you know that's true.
But this is not a Jalen Hurts discussion.
I know that, but you know that's true.
This is Jared Goff.
But you know that's true.
Maybe, but,
you know that's true.
He hasn't done that yet. 51.
Did Jared Goff do it in a Super Bowl?
No.
You hang 40 on him?
No, he didn't.
They say it was good field position, but go ahead, proceed.
No, he didn't. Jared Goff didn't do that in the Super Bowl, but I don't think I still think he's a great quarterback. I think he's awesome. I think he's the most slept on quarterback in the league.
He is.
And I've been saying that for years.
We talked about it. We talked about this last year. I said, I don't understand why Jared Goff isn't in the conversations. I don't get it. I just believe.
I know, but I feel like you fall into that category. When we were going through that list, when I'm the schedule, and I'm nitpicking here because I'm on a pod, and I love you. And I just know that when you were going through that list, you were looking at the quarterbacks, and you were like, that quarterback is better than Jared Goff. That quarterback is better than Jared Goff. It was every good team.
No, I actually didn't think about that. I swear to you. I looked at the overall team. I mean, not for nothing. You told me that Matt LaFleur can outcoach Dan Campbell. So by that notion, Packers should beat them. And the Packers will beat them on opening night, I believe, at Lambeau, because I just think the Packers are better. But I wasn't thinking about quarterbacks.
I know, but if you think a guy like Jared Goff is going to go 2-6, a guy that of his stature, the guy that has been producing 4,400 yards, 20-something touchdowns a year, and has been literally top 3 in passing yards and touchdowns since 2022, you think that team with that kind of quarterback is going to be 2-6?
They have a hard schedule to open the doors.
Because I would argue, if I go through the Bengals list, they could be 2-6. They can't stop a fucking nosebleed.
But Nick, just go again. I said this. They beat the Packers. They beat the Bears. That's 2-0. They lose to the Ravens.
Yeah.
That's 2-1.
Okay.
They beat the Browns. That's 3-1. They lose to the Bengals. That's 3-2.
Okay.
They lose to the Chiefs. That's 3-3. They beat the Bucks. Is 4-3. They lose to the Vikings. That's 4-4. And then they lose. And then they beat the Commanders. Is 5-4. I don't see where I got disrespectful. I just think that certain teams are better than them.
Bro, they were 15-2 last year.
I understand that. And now go.
I'm not saying they're not going to fall off, because I definitely do think the schedule supports your argument and your narrative 100%. And I do agree with that. I think they're going to lose a lot of these games. But to sit here and say that the Lions are going to go 2-6, I don't know if I can get there.
Well, the reason that they won 15 games last year, and they're at 10 and they're sitting at 10.5 win total.
Well, yeah, I mean, like
hey, man, bro, that's fucking 6 games, bro. Right. That's 5 games. That's a lot.
And in fairness, every season is different. They're not going to be 15-2 like they were last year. They're not going to be the number 1 seed.
Even if they started 2-6, what does it matter? I had them finishing 9-8, so I had them catching on late. You lose your starting center.
I just have a problem with, like, I just feel like, we underrate Jared Goff. Okay, the Lions lose, because the Lions lose a couple pieces. It's like, okay, well, they act like they don't have the quarterback that can fill that hole. Like, you don't think that Jared Goff can mask those deficiencies?
No, because he's a tree.
See, that's like, I just disagree. Like, how do we say that? Like, we talk about, like, Jared Goff can't mask deficiencies, but Joe Burrow can. I don't know. The last time last season, Jared Goff was 15-2. Joe Burrow he missed the playoffs.
Jared Goff would have missed the playoffs. 9 out of 10 times would have lost, would have went that.
But I'm just saying, though. I'm just saying.
Does Jared Goff have a super team?
Does he?
Yeah.
Do you think he does?
I think he does.
Why?
Because Amon-Ra's a top 8 wide receiver.
Fair.
Jameer Gibbs is a top 3 running back.
Yes, he is.
There you go.
Okay.
Jameson Williams, good wide receiver.
Is that predicated on his success?
What do you mean?
Do you think that's the reason why Jared Goff is successful? Because he's with a super team.
I think it helps.
I mean, of course it helps, but I'm talking about,
you got to have good players. You got to have good players. I'm not holding that against them. I'm just, again, man, I had them at 9-8, which is 1 game under their win total. And I'm getting looked at like I said they were going to be bums because I had them starting out slow. I mean, I don't understand how we got here.
No, I think we got here because in my mind, when you were going through the schedule, I thought that you were looking at Jared Goff, the quarterback matchups, because when I was going through, I'm like, all right, this is what he's going to do. Because I'm looking at it, you're like, are all the easy teams that don't have quarterbacks better than Jared Goff that are obvious, you took them as loss.
We could just go on this. I think Jared Goff is better than Jordan Love. I think he's better than Caleb Williams. I don't think he's better than Lamar. I don't know who the Browns have. He's not better than Joe Burrow. He's not better than Patrick Mahomes. I think I would take. He's not better than Baker Mayfield. He's better than JJ McCarthy. He's not better than Jaden Daniels. He's not better than Jalen Hurts. He's not better. He's not better than Dak Prescott. He's not better than Matt Stafford. He's not better than Mason Rudolph. That was satire. Tell me where I went wrong. Tell me who he's better than. Is he better than Jordan Love?
Jared Goff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better than Caleb Williams?
Yeah.
Is he better than Lamar Jackson?
No.
Is he better than Joe Burrow?
They're the same player. I think Joe Burrow is way more talented than Jared Goff, but if we're talking about career-wise and numbers-wise, I mean, Jared Goff is right there. Both went to a Super Bowl and lost.
Is he better than Patrick Mahomes?
No.
Is he better than Baker Mayfield?
I'll take Jared. I like Jared Goff.
Okay. Is he better than Jaden Daniels?
I don't know. Jaden Daniels is hard to evaluate because he's a rookie. He was a rookie last year.
Is he better than Jalen Hurts?
Career-wise, he is, yes. But right now,
I asked right now. You didn't say career-wise until because
no.
You think Jared Goff is better than Jalen Hurts.
Right now, I'll take Jalen Hurts.
I'm going to walk out. 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 It's fucking insane. Is he better than Dak Prescott?
Jared Goff, yes.
Better than Matt Stafford?
No.
Better than Mason Rudolph?
Yes.
All right. We'll see. It's going to be interesting.
Jared Goff's top 10 quarterback.
Okay. I said that. I can't wait. I cannot wait to watch this season unfold. Oh my God. I can't wait. I can't wait because I'm so him in my assessments. I know what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, they have a hard schedule, Mike.
They got Jared Goff. He top 10. He got to win.
He's a very good quarterback.
Top 3 running back, top 8 wide receiver. You got to win.
He's
no
an
excuses.
awesome player, man.
No excuses. And if his defense blows, he's got to get the 9 wins because he's as good as Joe Burrow. If his defense historically bad.
His defense was awesome. His defense was pretty good last year, but they had some games where they gave up a lot of points.
Well, that's because they got injured. They had like 30 people injured on their defense. They had a ton of injuries. Hutchinson went down and shit.
They gave up 34 against San Francisco, won that game. They gave up 48 to the Bills and lost, but they scored 42.
That was because Dan Campbell's a dumbass and kicked an onside kick with 11 minutes to go in the game down by 10.
They gave up 31 against Green Bay. They won that.
Aaron Glenn was coaching his ass off with all those injuries, and you lost your coordinators.
Like when the opposing teams put up points, the Lions put up, they matched with them. Now, look, is that sustainable? I don't think so. And I do think the Lions are going to take a step back. Like I'm with you. But like, I think that when we were going through the schedule, I felt like I had to argue with you because I felt like you were nitpicking at the quarterback. Because I don't think that you think that Jared Goff is that good.
I was the first one last year to say that he was approaching top 5 when he was going through that role. We could check the tapes. Really? I said Jared Goff is a certified top 10 quarterback. I said I think he's the most underrated quarterback in football.
That was my MVP.
Nobody talks about him. Nobody talks about Jared Goff, and Jared Goff's a good quarterback. Like I said, there's a lot of changes going on for them, dude. There's a lot of changes going on, for real. And I've been saying this though. We have clips on it on social media. I think that I'm concerned about the Lions.
Is it because of their schedule though?
It's because of their schedule. It's losing both your coordinators is a problem. It's impactful, dude. You got to get new installs. You don't know how they're vibing. You don't know. It's a lot different, dude. It's different, man. And when you have an elite play caller like that, like you said, Mac Jones, he was only worth a damn when he had Josh McDaniels. It means a lot, dude. It means a lot when you have a guru.
No, I know. I'm with you. Like, look, do I think Joe Burrow is better than Jared Goff? Yes, 100%. I'm not stupid. But like, to say that Joe Burrow is miles ahead better than Jared Goff, like I disagree, bro. Like the numbers tell me that Jared Goff has been a fucking awesome quarterback. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's been to a Super Bowl. Like, he's been there. He lost to Brady. Okay, so fucking what? So did Mahomes. Okay, like it's nothing normal. Yeah, he didn't perform well in the Super Bowl. That happens. This shit happens. But to say that, like, I don't know. I just feel like that. I think I'm fighting for Jared Goff because I feel like when people bring him up, they just completely think that he is just a regular ass dude, and I just disagree with that. I strongly disagree with that. But yet we give praises to Joe Burrow, who, yeah, he threw for a lot of yards and had a crazy amount of stats, but yet missed the playoffs. That's your forte, dude. That's the reason why you hated Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson had threw for 5,000 yards, but yet was like 4-12.
And I was the one who said that I would consider putting Jalen Hurts over Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow needs to make the playoffs when you are that good. You do not miss the playoffs in your prime. I said that. And your response was, I don't care what you say, Jalen Hurts ain't better than Joe Burrow. So I don't know which way you're taking this, but I'm in favor of that. Good. When you are an elite quarterback, you must make the playoffs and must make noise. It's why I've criticized Dak. It's why I just criticized Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow is my favorite player in the league.
But I hate that because when I watch Joe Burrow, I can clearly say that he's quite literally one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yes, but again,
regardless of the record.
But that's why I tell you, if somebody throws for 4,000 yards, I don't care.
Yeah, but regardless of the record, I can still obviously watch the guy play and evaluate his talent.
Yes,
but it has nothing to do with the record.
I know that. I know that, and that's what I'm saying. Like that's why Joe Burrow's still in the top 5 because everybody can watch him and just say, "Yo, this dude's out of this world."
And that's what I'm saying. But why is that fair for Joe Burrow, but not for Jared Goff? If Jared Goff would have had a year where Joe Burrow missed the playoffs, and if Jared Goff goes 9-8, everybody's going to criticize Jared Goff. Why?
Because
Tell me why.
Because
it's fucking insane.
Because the only seasons he was good was when he had absolute gurus. Like if Caleb Williams goes off this year and Jared Goff is 9-8, Jared Goff was a product of Ben Johnson.
Okay, and the only reason why Joe Burrow puts up all these fucking stats because he has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins his whole career.
That's fair. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. So why is one player get glorified and the other one gets shitted on? That's what I have a problem with. Because when you watch Jared Goff's career, bro, 4,600 yards and 37 touchdowns is a product of an offensive coordinator is crazy.
So why didn't he have it when they had the first year in Detroit?
Because players get better.
But Nick,
he's progressing, Mike.
But he didn't. He went down.
How?
He went to the fucking Super Bowl.
Bro, I'm talking about last year. He had a better year last year than he did than he did in 2023.
Nick,
he progressed.
You're not listening.
His completion percentage went up, his passing yards went up, his touchdowns went up, and his interceptions stayed the same. His passer rating went up. Everything went up in Jared Goff this year.
Nick, he went with the Rams. Sean McVay, 28-7, 32-12, 22-16, 22-13, traded 19-8. 29-7, 30-12, 37-12. What is the key difference from 2017 to 2020? Skip 21 and then 22 to 24. Elite offensive play calling. My thing is he went to the Super Bowl in 2019. 2020, he got dumped. If Jared Goff was anything near a Joe Burrow or that elite of a talent, you don't get rid of him. And then go get another quarterback and win the Super Bowl that very season. And then he goes to the Lions where they have an offensive coordinator that isn't very good. He has the worst year of his career outside of his rookie year. And then when Ben Johnson gets there, he all of a sudden starts cooking again. It's a very, very, it's not shitting on Jared Goff, but it's very obvious that Jared Goff is a product of an offensive guru. Otherwise, Sean McVay wouldn't be getting rid of him. There was no need.
Yeah, but you're taking away all his credit.
No,
you are though, because you're saying the only reason why he has blossomed is because of Ben Johnson. What if he just got better as a quarterback?
But Nick, you can't say that.
Why?
Because in the year that he didn't have, we already know that Sean.
You're talking about 2021.
We already know that Sean McVay is one of the most elite, brilliant offensive minds in the game, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So so Sean McVay has him. He goes to the Super Bowl. The next year he doesn't do well and he gets traded. You don't trade a guy that makes a Super Bowl if you think he can still win it. So obviously Sean McVay didn't think that. He trades for Matt Stafford, wins the Super Bowl that year. The same year, coincidentally, that Jared Goff doesn't have a brilliant offensive mind, he has the worst year of his career since his rookie year. And you could throw that out because it was with Jeff Fisher.
Fair.
Then the next 3 years with Ben Johnson, he goes off again. Ben Johnson is now regarded as the best offensive play caller from an offensive coordinator standpoint.
Okay.
That's why the Bears went out and got him. So I'm saying it is fair to say that there's going to be a major dip in productivity. And the only reason I'm saying that is just like 32, 19, and 8. That's what Jalen Hurts had this year, and he won the Super Bowl, which is why I say you can't really pay attention to stats. I'm looking at how he played that season.
Okay.
But there's no good reason for Sean McVay to get rid of him and get somebody else. He goes to the Lions with a non-brilliant offensive coordinator, and he wasn't enough to carry.
Yeah, but Sean McVay's decision to get rid of the quarterback is not like it shouldn't dictate why we view Jared Goff as a regular quarterback.
But why? But that's saying that he is, bro.
I know. But all right, so let me ask you a question. Do you think Sean McVay is better than Ben Johnson overall as a coach?
Yeah, but I don't know anything about Ben Johnson.
But why would you say that Sean McVay is better than Ben Johnson?
Because I see Sean McVay do it.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Who had better years under who? Did Jared Goff have better years under Ben Johnson, or did he have better years under Sean McVay?
Ben Johnson.
Okay. So,
well,
to me,
no, not really. Not really. They're pretty the same.
Statistically, I'm talking about if you want, all right, well, success-wise.
Yeah, Sean McVay.
Rams had a better shot success-wise because of the way they were built.
But if you change, like 2018 Jared Goff compares to 2024 Jared Goff. 2019 Jared Goff compares to 2021, oddly enough. But that was the year before they got rid of him. 2017 Jared Goff compares to 2023 Jared Goff. Like, Jared Goff is pretty consistent in what he's doing. Again, the only down year was coincidentally when he lost.
But my point is that Sean McVay is a better coach than Ben Johnson. But then when Jared Goff left Sean McVay, or Sean McVay dumped him to go to Detroit, he went to Ben Johnson and was better under a worse coach. Well, so is it the player, or is it? Let me ask you a question. Was Ben Johnson blessed to have Jared Goff?
No.
Or was Jared Goff blessed to have Ben Johnson?
I think Jared Goff was blessed to have Ben Johnson, because in his only year with the Lions without Ben Johnson, they were 3-13. And it was his worst statistical year. So by by what you just said, again, the data that I'm reading is telling me I'm right.
But it was a rebuild year for the Lions. There was no success for him set up for Jared Goff.
That's fair, but you could also, going back to Burrow, you can say it's a rebuild with that defense.
Absolutely, you could say it's a rebuild, but I'm not. But like, I don't hold it. I didn't hold it against Burrow that he missed the playoffs because of his defense. I legit said he had the best season of the quarterbacks that I've ever seen.
Can I ask you a question?
And he didn't he didn't make the playoffs because of his defense. Bro, the expectation to score 45 points a week is so fucking hard. You have to be flawless. You can't throw any interceptions, because if you throw an interception, you're already down 2 possessions because your defense can't stop a nosebleed.
Jalen Hurts started in what, 2020?
Mathematics.
So Jalen Hurts started in 2021. I hate to bring him up, but I know Jalen Hurts isn't your favorite quarterback. Jalen Hurts started in 2021, right?
Yeah.
Was that a rebuild for the Eagles? Coming off of Wentz's major contract, you don't have A.J. Brown.
Okay. Absolutely, it was a rebuild.
What do you go that year?
I think what did they go?
9-8.
Yeah.
With a rookie head coach.
No, it was 8-8, because I don't think they played 17 games.
Yeah, they did. They were 9-8.
They were 9-8. That was the first year of 17.
That was his first year of 17, 2021. Okay. Jalen Hurts made the playoffs. So where was Jared Goff making the playoffs with the Lions his first year? Jalen Hurts did it with a rookie head coach in a rebuild year, in a franchise that was in disarray, to be honest. Where was it? But nobody talks about it. So I'm in the same frustration as you on that. That is my point, dude.
Yeah, that means you're saying that Jalen Hurts was the sole reason that the Eagles made the playoffs that year.
That year he was. 2021, it was Jalen Hurts. It was the year of the fucking flower pot and all that. So I'm just saying, is my point on that is Jalen Hurts blows, but everybody acts like Jalen Hurts had this super team since 2021, and it's just factually, analytically incorrect. But we'll make excuses for not make excuses for Jared Goff, but I'm crazy because I'm pointing out that his only good years with the Lions were 3 years, coincidentally, right after Ben Johnson got there and got hot. Dan Campbell was about to be fired.
I just
again, you can disagree because you like Jared Goff.
I know, but you're taking away credit from him. And
No,
you are.
I think he's good, but he's offensive coordinator dependent.
You're saying so. You're basically saying he's a system quarterback.
I think that's kind of fair.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with system quarterbacks.
Me neither.
If my system quarterback gave me 4,600 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 12 picks, and went 15-2, I'm not crying about it.
I could care less what he threw for. I'm just watching the guy and saying, "Oh,
well,
he can run that
he
system."
Put up stats and he won football games.
Exactly, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. But I think Jared Goff is a system quarterback.
So you think that? But I'm saying so. Jared Goff's a system quarterback, but Ben Johnson's not a system coach.
What do you mean?
Like Ben Johnson's not a system coach. Like he didn't benefit off of having Amon-Ra, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Sam Laporta, Jared Goff.
Whoa. It makes it easier when you have players.
Right.
But you can also.
So why isn't he, well, how come Ben Johnson's not regarded as a product of his system that he inherited versus Jared Goff? Like, why is it always the other way around?
Because the offense didn't turn around until Ben Johnson got there.
Right. But the offense didn't turn around until they had Amon-Ra, Jahmyr Gibbs, and all boys.
You need players.
Absolutely.
That's why I think both Ben Johnson and Caleb are under a lot of pressure. Because Caleb, you're supposed to be the big athlete, the more athletic, better than Jared Goff. You better put on.
He ain't better than Jared Goff, bro.
But we will see, though, because if Caleb Williams sucks, is it Ben Johnson or is it Caleb Williams? So that's an interesting question that's going to approach for the Bears. If the Bears start out, what I think they're going to start out 1-7, is it going to be Ben Johnson's problem or is it going to be, you will know about Ben Johnson by Caleb Williams.
So then by that standard, if they go 1-7 and Jared Goff is still putting up decent numbers and Detroit is just floating around 500, you think it's still Ben Johnson that made Jared Goff? Or do you think
maybe, maybe not? We have to look at Caleb Williams.
Or do you think hey, the Lions have a tough schedule. I understand that. They lost a lot of pieces this year. They're going to take a couple hits.
You have to look at everything in totality.
But why? But like my thing is that like I feel like if Jared Goff loses a couple games, you're gonna dock him for losing a couple of games because he doesn't have Ben Johnson. No, I just don't think that's right.
If he goes 9-8, that's not losing a couple games, brother. That's losing 7.
Yeah, but that has something to do with Ben Johnson or not. You think Ben Johnson's going to cover 7-game difference? There's no way. I don't believe that. So, but I think Detroit had a great season last year.
You may not believe that, but what I'm saying and what Las Vegas is saying aligns.
Right, but situations matter. Last year, Detroit had a great team.
They were the
overall.
Nick, they were the most injured team in the league.
I know, but I'm talking about overall in totality. They were one of the best teams.
They have the same team coming back,
and they're
healthy. And they're healthy. They have the same team coming back. They have the same. Who'd they lose?
Well, they lost their defensive coordinator. They lost coordinators.
Nick, I just told you this, and you and Tom. I just saw Tom's comments, and you guys just told me I was fucking smoking wet.
They lost coordinators. They lost a couple pieces on defense. Correct. They lost their center. They lost pieces too, Mike.
They lost their center, but you just said that you don't think a center means that much.
I'm saying in totality of their team. Last year, their team was built way better than it was this year. Like situations matter.
Maybe.
But you're giving all the credit to Ben Johnson. Like I just don't think that's fair.
I didn't actually. I gave it to the coordinators. I had them going 9-8, which is one game beneath the 10.5 record set by the NFL. I said that they were going to get off to a rough start because I picked teams that were better, that I think are better than them. I don't think they're going to be as explosive offensively. I think their defense isn't going to be as good as it was last year because I think Aaron Glenn is better than, I forget the dude's name, like John Sheppel or something like that. I think the defense is going to take a step back. I think the offense is going to take a step back. You just lost your center. That's a problem. I'm not saying anything out of the ordinary.
I don't know what you want me to say, bro. I don't think that, like, I don't know how you say confidently that they're going to take a step back on offense. Like they weren't the number one offense last year in the league. Like, yeah, like they're going to take a step back. Of course, you lost your offensive coordinator, but to say that Ben Johnson was the sole reason that they were the number one offense is fucking crazy. Like, yeah, it matters to put your team in the best position to succeed. I don't deny that because, like, what you alluded to, the example of the Eagles last year or 2 years ago, which I agree, but they still have all the right pieces and all the right ingredients to the point where it's like, do you think the next coordinator is a dumbass?
No, but he just might not be brilliant.
So you think it's a dumbass?
No, you can be smart, just not brilliant. You could be a smart guy. There's a difference between being Donald Trump smart and being Elon Musk smart.
You could be smart, but not brilliant. I got to think about that.
Is Donald Trump smart?
Yeah.
Is Elon Musk brilliant?
Smart and brilliant.
Very different.
You think so?
Yes. One guy is catching rockets out of the sky, and the other guy is doing politics.
But I think brilliance is a byproduct of being smart.
Whatever. I don't care about it. I'm not in the mood to argue that. I don't care. That's stupid.
I'm not in the mood to argue that either. What I'm saying is, though, bro, I whatever, dude. I don't even give a fuck.
Because I honestly don't know what you argued me that whole point. I said Jared Goff was a top 10 quarterback. I said they were finishing 9-8. I just said I think their offense is going to take a hit and their defense is going to take a hit because you got two new guys.
No, I argued.
And you had two awesome coordinators. It's not like you had two bums.
No, I argued because it's like the way you're breaking it down is that you're saying that the Lions are going to be, they're taking a step back on offense because of Ben Johnson, and it's like it's going to be a drastic change.
Did the Patriots have a drastic change when they lost Josh McDaniels?
Yeah, but that's so different. They didn't have the players, Mike. They didn't have the players to support them. They had no fucking wide receivers. They had no running game, no wide receivers, no quarterback. They had nothing. It's a bad example. The Lions have loaded offense. They are. The Lions are well put in position.
They are. So there's no excuses for Jared Goff. If he's 9-8, that's embarrassing.
I don't give him excuses. I never give him excuses.
What if he's 9-8? But if he's 9-8 and throws for 4,500 yards, 35 touchdowns, and 6 picks, you're going to say he had a great season. No, he didn't.
Why?
He missed the playoffs with a loaded team.
So you don't think Joe Burrow had a great season?
No.
How?
He did statistically, but I don't care about statistics.
It's a great season, though.
But you're never going to remember it.
You're never going to remember every season unless you win the Super Bowl.
My point. Because that's all it's about. But yeah,
right.
If you want to say Joe Burrow had a good statistical season, yes. But there's a difference between having a good statistical season and having a great season.
Bro, he had a historically great season.
And it amounted to nothing. And that's why I don't care about numbers.
I'm with you, but it's again, like you can't do nothing when you can't do nothing when your defense is giving up 40 points, bro. There's nothing you can do. I understand.
But Joe Burrow lost some of them games too. And he's got to wear that because you need to be perfect when your team is that bad.
That's the problem. You have to be perfect.
Yeah, Joe Burrow had to be perfect. Though. Agreed. Joe Burrow had to be perfect.
That's why he has 41 touchdowns and 4 picks or whatever he had picks.
Yeah,
he had Lamar. Picks are errors.
I think he had 9.
He had 9 picks, right?
I think.
But he wasn't perfect. But when he had to be, he had to do everything.
Look, I love Joe Burrow. I'm not saying that. I just don't get caught up in numbers. Like numbers don't hold weight to me. They just don't. Because they don't tell the whole story. They don't tell the whole story.
Just like Joe Burrow's season doesn't tell the whole story. So you look at that guy, you look at the stats. He has 40-something touchdowns and 9 picks and didn't make the playoffs. You're scratching yourself and you're saying, how?
Yeah.
So the story is Joe looked like he did his part.
Yep.
But why didn't he make the playoffs?
Should have beat New England week 1.
No, but why didn't he make the playoffs? Overall, when you break down the body of work, synopsis of the season.
His defense is literally historically bad. They're one of the worst defenses of all time.
So why do you hold? So why is that held against him?
Because it's about winning, bro, and that's what it comes down to. It is about winning. Because here's the thing, and prime for prime, Peyton Manning was better than Tom Brady. The difference was that Tom Brady was winning Super Bowls and Peyton Manning was choking. That was the argument. We used to argue all the time about this, brother. You're arguing the opposite of what you argued with Tom Brady. You know that's fair.
How am I arguing the opposite? Brady put up the stats. And
he didn't in the beginning. But it was Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl.
But he didn't have to put up the stats, like crazy stats, like the fucking
Do you say that about 1?
yards. He still put up 4,000, though.
Do you say that about 1?
What about him?
You always criticize his numbers.
Yeah. Because he doesn't throw for more than 20 times a game.
Neither did Brady.
Yes, he did.
His beginning years?
Tom Brady threw for more. You want to go through the numbers?
Nick, he was mid.
He was not mid. Tom Brady made the Pro Bowl. What the fuck are you talking about mid?
Tom Brady wasn't mid at the beginning of his career.
No, he wasn't. That's a myth. That's a myth, bro. You ain't mid and winning 3 Super Bowls. You ain't mid.
Nick, every time he won a Super Bowl, he had a top 5 defense. Literally, every time he won the Super Bowl, he had a top 5 defense.
Let me ask you a question. Did they win?
Thank you.
Okay. He was part of that team. If he didn't win with a top 5 defense, they would criticize him even more. So he did his job.
Nick, but but it's an inconsistent narrative.
How is it inconsistent?
Because if Jalen Hurts wins the Super Bowl the way that he did it, about the way Tom Brady did against the Rams, it is his defense. They're already saying it. The defense was the MVP this year. But if that's Tom Brady, you're talking about the darts that he threw to Devontae Smith and this and that. Because it's about narratives that are created about certain quarterbacks.
No, it's not. There's no narratives created, Mike. The guy that, bro, you're talking about all of his Super Bowls, and you're pointing out one Super Bowl at the Rams, right? Out of 10 Super Bowls, you're nitpicking one. No, that's why the Rams. But that's why the Rams is not like nitpicked at Brady's career. Like, oh well, he won a Super Bowl that year, but that Super Bowl, he was like,
Well, he didn't play good in that Super Bowl. The defense saved him, and that's okay.
I know, but they don't talk about that and nitpick his career because he had 10 Super Bowls. His resume expands more than one game.
But the other part of it is too is like even they don't remember him that he threw for 500 yards against the Eagles the first time.
I do.
Because you're a Brady fan, bro. But I'm saying the regular dude is just kind of like, oh no, Nick Foles won that Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he also has a record for the most passing yards.
And it lost. And go ask him if he wants the record for most passing yards in a loss.
I don't disagree with that.
So
he actually talks about that all the time.
He does.
He brings it up. He's like, yeah, I'll throw for 500 and still lose.
Yep, and he hates it.
He hates it.
It's about W. All right, last thing before we got out of here, we just did a fucking 30 minutes on that, and we didn't even get anywhere. I don't even know what the point of that was. We didn't even get anywhere. I still think Jared Goff is a top 10 quarterback. I still think they're going 9-8. I think they're not gonna average 34 points a game again, and I think they start out slow.
Okay.
So I don't know what I said in there that was confusing. At what point did I disrespect Jared Goff? I need you to watch this episode tomorrow and tell me where I disrespect.
Bro, you went through the list, and every good team that they played against, you were like loss. And that's the shit that I so disagree with because I thought about them. Quarterbacks matchups. To me, it's not even no brainer. Like Jared Goff is way better than a lot of the quarterbacks in the league. It's not even close. But like Ben Johnson's Jared Goff's career, so.
Well, Sean McVay was too.
Yeah, McVay too. So when they put Jared Goff in the Hall of Fame, they should give it to.
Jared Goff's not a Hall of Fame quarterback.
They should give it to what's his name?
You think Jared Goff is a Hall of Fame quarterback?
He's a Super Bowl away.
The Eagles traded Bryce off the San Francisco 49ers for a 2026 mid-round pick. What do you think on that?
Super Bowl away. Nah,
you're out of your Yeah, you just had a moment to think about it.
100% Super Bowl away. Look at the numbers.
You actually think that?
Yeah. I do.
Oh, we're way off on Jared Goff than I thought, bro.
No, I think
you're out of your mind. Jared Goff is not a Super Bowl away from being a fucking Hall of Famer. Are you crazy?
Yeah, he is. I think so. So his trajectory for the next 5, because you got to think about it. He's still young, bro. If he wins a Super Bowl this year, Jared Goff for the next 7 years, if he's throwing for 4,600 yards, 30 touchdowns, or even 25 touchdowns, his numbers, the numbers are going to support the Hall of Fame. Absolutely.
Do you think the Lions are a Super Bowl contender this year?
Yeah, they have to be. They were 15-2 last year.
Okay. I'm just making sure you're consistent, bro. I'm dead serious.
How can a team not be a Super Bowl contender if they're coming off 15-2?
I'm with you.
Like, yeah, they lost their coordinators, but you still got the quarterback there. I don't think
they're a Super Bowl contender.
Well,
the last 2 years, I think you blew it.
Maybe.
I think those are hurt pieces.
I still feel like let's go through the NFC. I mean, like the Eagles are definitively better. Yeah,
the Rams are definitively better. The Commanders are definitively better.
Maybe the Rams. Maybe, but we have no idea.
Okay. The Eagles are the Rams.
I know the Eagles are better.
Commanders.
I'll give you that. Commanders. I don't agree with that yet.
Packers?
I think the Bucks are sneakily slept on. I really like that squad this year.
Yeah, Packers.
No, not yet.
Dallas.
No.
Okay, so you have them as the third best team in the NFC. Or second best. I'm sorry. Eagles.
I think they're 3 or 4. They're on that path.
What do you think of Bryce Huff before we get out of here? We've been potting too long.
Bryce Huff to me is just one of the worst free agents signings I can remember.
It's up there with Nnamdi Asomugha.
Nah, it's up there with Byron Maxwell.
Well, Nnamdi was worse than Byron, bro.
Yeah, true.
Nnamdi was like the savior.
He was, man.
Byron was middies. Byron just got his contract because he was on the.
But Nnamdi was a different platform. Like he was regarded as the best free agent.
Bro, he was a lockdown corner in Oakland, and he came here, bro, and he was awful.
Horrible.
They were routing his ass up every week.
Yeah. Horrible.
All right. That's all I got to say on that. Yeah, it reminded me of Nnamdi Asomugha. Just garbage.
Yeah.
But Byron Maxwell was a bad signing. That was a bad signing. DeMarco Murray was a horrible signing.
I agree. What else? I don't know. I think for the most parts, the Eagles do get their free agent signings correct.
What happened?
I think for the most part, the Eagles do land
With Howie.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously the clear misses with Nnamdi, Maxwell, Huff, but outside of that, I mean, how many times did we swing and miss?
We swung and miss on 2 corners.
Would you consider Kevin Curtis a swing and miss based on the contract that he got at the time and the production we got?
No, we were desperate.
Okay. Kevin Curtis is crazy.
I know.
He was our number 1 wide receiver, bro.
That's why I
But,
doubted
look at the talent difference back then.
Yeah. James Thrash and
You know what I mean?
Kevin Curtis.
Like, even if you drafted like a 3rd round wide receiver, they were never what they are today.
3rd round wide receivers are ballers.
3rd round wide receivers back then probably don't even get drafted today.
Yeah, they were like Ricky Prohl.
Which is crazy. That's how much the talent pool switched to me, in my opinion. It swung so dramatically.
It got deeper.
Sports science,
deeper.
Sports science really fucking increased that
I know.
as a whole. But let's roll, bro.
All right. We'll see you guys next Wednesday, June 11th. Thank you.
Yeah. Super Bowl away.
He's insane.
I'm caps lock different. It's facts, not fiction. Said I black out for real, then the track gone missing. If it's cap, I'm dipping. We ain't talking about a move, then it's flatline finished. When I spaz, I'm grinning. Put a peel off in the Sadies and I pass by spinning. It's perks with this life, but I don't have my skinnage. Took a quick trip and now I'm back home winning. And I see they eyes pop like I snack on spinach. Pull up to the spot, she tryna grab my digits. I'm already 8 shots, a Henny past my limit. Here you go. Hazards with a dash full of tickets. I'ma act like I don't see them. I got bad eye vision. Y'all can't pass my scrimmage. While y'all tripping, it's Aruba. I realized I had to